The Cleveland Browns training camp was supposed to be routine. A few new faces, some quarterback drills, the same old preseason optimism. But this year, it's chaos. And right in the center of it all, Shedeur Sanders. The story began quietly. Reporters asked Browns quarterback coach Bill Musgrave about the reps, about how things were being divided. His answer sounded calm at first, textbook coach talk. With a young quarterback like Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel starting, we want to make sure the reps are balanced. But then came the storm. Musgrave didn't just stop at generic praise. He started hinting strongly that not everything was fair in the Browns quarterback room, that maybe Shedeur wasn't getting the opportunities he deserved, that maybe the plan wasn't as balanced as Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, wanted the media to believe. And suddenly, training camp wasn't about football anymore. It was about politics, ego, pride. Word leaked out fast. Shedeur was barely getting first-team reps. Gabriel, the newcomer, was taking nearly all of them. And according to people close to the team, Shedeur wasn't happy. Not because he wanted to skip the line, but because he felt like the decision was already made for him before he even had a chance to prove himself. That's when the media caught fire. Cleveland talk radio exploded. Tony Rizzo, one of the city's loudest sports voices, went off, accusing Stefanski of mishandling the most talented rookie the Browns had seen in years. And then Bill Musgrave did the unthinkable. He broke rank. During his next press conference, the quarterback coach all but called out his boss. He talked about Shedeur's growth, his professionalism, his insane work ethic. He said Shedeur wasn't just learning, he was leading. He described him as a quarterback who makes every play count, who studies the game like a veteran, and who's ready for any situation. Those weren't the words of a coach defending a backup. Those were the words of a coach hinting that his QB1 might already be sitting on the bench. Fans heard it, the media heard it, and so did Kevin Stefanski. Behind closed doors, the tension was thick. Musgrave's comments were seen as defiance, a challenge to the coach's authority. Stefanski, who's already under pressure to turn Cleveland's talent into wins, suddenly found himself at war with his own staff. And all the while, Shedeur kept his head down, showing up early, staying late, throwing, studying, waiting. Because in his mind, this wasn't politics. This was football. And he knew the truth. When you're good enough, eventually, they can't keep you off the field forever. But for now, the whispers are growing louder. Did Stefanski just make the same mistakes so many Browns coaches have made before, ignoring the future right in front of him? Because this isn't just about reps anymore. This is about respect. The next morning, the Browns facility didn't feel like an NFL camp anymore. It felt like a pressure cooker. Every reporter in Berea had one question. What's going on between Kevin Stefanski and Bill Musgrave? Stefanski tried to play it cool, giving his usual calm, controlled answers. We're focused on preparing our team. Every player has a role. We're evaluating everything. But the look in his eyes said something else. He was furious. Behind the scenes, people close to the team said Stefanski felt blindsided, embarrassed that a staff member had gone public with what should have stayed internal. He called a closed-door meeting with the offensive staff. According to one insider, it wasn't polite. Voices were raised, lines were drawn, and right in the middle of that chaos, Shedeur Sanders just kept working. He didn't feed the drama. He didn't tweet. He didn't post cryptic messages. He just practiced, threw, studied, ran plays with the scout team like it was a playoff game. That's what impressed veterans the most. One Browns player, who didn't want his name out there, told local media, "The kid's got the poise of a 10-year vet. He doesn't let the noise get to him." You can tell he's built different. And that's the thing, Shedeur is built different. He's been under pressure his whole life. The son of Deion Sanders, expected to carry the same fire, same swagger, same greatness. But Shedeur's never tried to be his dad. He's carving his own path, and it's starting to show on the field. During a red zone session later that week, something changed. The coaches gave Shedeur a handful of first-team snaps, just to see what he could do. He didn't waste a single one. First rep, quick read, laser strike to the corner of the end zone, touchdown. Second rep, pressure off the edge, he rolls right, fires on the run, touchdown. Third rep, audible at the line, picks apart the coverage, touchdown. By the time the whistle blew, the entire sideline was buzzing. Even defensive players were shaking their heads, saying, "That's a dude right there." But not everyone was smiling. Stefanski looked stone-faced, clipboard tight in his hands. Because while everyone else saw a rising star, he saw a challenge to his control. The situation was clear now. Musgrave believed in Shedeur. The players were starting to believe in Shedeur. The fans already wanted Shedeur. And Stefanski, he felt cornered. It wasn't just about who started at quarterback anymore. It was about who had the power in that building. As training camp went on, the Browns' offense looked uneven. Gabriel struggled with consistency. Missed reads, overthrows, indecision under pressure. Meanwhile, every time Shedeur got a chance, the energy shifted. The offense moved. And soon, reporters weren't asking if Shedeur would start. They were asking when. That question would change everything. By week 2 of camp, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Every snap, every throw, every mistake, it all felt amplified. The Browns were supposed to be building chemistry, but instead, they were walking on eggshells. Reporters whispered about a divide in the locker room. Veterans were quietly choosing sides. Some stuck by Stefanski, saying he'd earned their respect over the years. Others leaned toward Musgrave, drawn to the fire and belief he showed in Shedeur Sanders. And then came the breaking point. During open practice, fans packed the stands, cameras out, waiting to see something. What they got instead was chaos. Dillon Gabriel, trying to bounce back from a rough day, threw back-to-back interceptions. The crowd groaned. You could feel the frustration in his body language. On the next rep, he underthrew a deep route again, and then Stefanski barked out his frustration. Moments later, Musgrave called over Shedeur. The entire facility went silent. Gabriel jogged off, helmet down. Shedeur stepped in, calm, collected, all eyes on him. The play call came through, a deep post with a double fake, high risk, high reward. Snap, pocket collapses. Shedeur rolls left, resets, and fires a perfect strike downfield, touchdown. The crowd exploded. The sideline went wild. Even the team's social media crew couldn't resist. They posted the clip within minutes with one caption: "The future looks bright." That post racked up thousands of likes before anyone could blink. But that was the moment Kevin Stefanski knew things were spiraling out of his control. Behind the scenes, he reportedly confronted the team's media staff, furious about what he called a narrative problem. But it wasn't the media's narrative, it was reality. Shedeur Sanders had arrived. He wasn't a sideshow anymore. He wasn't just Coach Prime's son. He was a legit NFL-level talent, showing it every day and doing it with grace, focus, and poise. Musgrave couldn't hide his pride. During one closed practice, he was overheard saying, "You can't teach that. That's football IQ and ice in the veins." Still, Stefanski refused to budge. In team meetings, he doubled down, insisting that Gabriel remain the starter, no matter how well Shedeur performed. That decision didn't sit well with ownership. Jimmy Haslam, the man at the top, started asking pointed questions. If the best player's not playing, he reportedly said, "What message are we sending?" The whispers started to grow louder. Was Stefanski losing his team? Was he putting ego above results? It was becoming harder to defend him, especially when every highlight from practice featured one name: Shedeur Sanders. He had the arm, the reads, the presence, and most importantly, the locker room. And when a young quarterback wins the room before even winning the job, history shows change is coming. The only question now, who would make the first move, Stefanski or Haslam? The following week, everything finally boiled over. After another practice filled with misconnections between Gabriel and the receivers, the tension reached a breaking point. Players started glancing toward the sideline after every misfire, not at Gabriel, but at Stefanski. They wanted answers. And then, in a private team meeting that evening, the truth came out. Jimmy Haslam had seen enough. He didn't fly in quietly this time. He walked straight into the facility, brief meeting with GM Andrew Berry, and then called for the coaching staff. Everyone knew what that meant. The topic? Shedeur Sanders. Sources close to the organization later revealed that Haslam's patience was wearing thin. He didn't spend millions to build a roster full of talent, only for politics to hold it back. He'd watched every practice clip, every highlight, every stat. And to him, it was obvious. Shedeur wasn't just holding his own, he was outperforming the starter. So, when Haslam reportedly asked Stefanski why Shedeur wasn't being considered for the first team, The answer he got didn't sit well. Stefanski defended his decision, saying, "He's young, he's learning. We need to be careful." But Haslam wasn't buying it. He fired back, saying, "Careful doesn't win football games. Results do." That line spread like wildfire through the team facility. And by the next morning, everyone knew ownership was officially in Shedeur's corner. Practice that day had a different energy. For the first time, Shedeur took all the first-team reps. The offense clicked like a well-oiled machine. Every throw sharp, every read clean. The defense couldn't stop him. It felt like the start of something bigger, the changing of the guard. Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel tried to keep his composure, but you could see the frustration. The weight of the competition had crushed his rhythm, his confidence, his edge. The media soon caught wind of it all. Headlines read, "Browns quarterback drama heats up. Haslam pressures Stefanski over QB decision." And the biggest one, is Shedeur Sanders the future of the Browns? Inside the locker room, players didn't even bother whispering anymore. They knew. The kid had earned it. But for Kevin Stefanski, that realization was devastating. He had built this team in his image, disciplined, quiet, system first. And now, the 22-year-old quarterback had just flipped the script. By the end of camp, Shedeur Sanders had taken control not just of the field, but of the entire narrative. He'd gone from a rookie prospect to a leader, and he did it without arrogance, without headlines, and without excuses. The same people who doubted him now couldn't stop praising him. Reporters who once questioned his readiness were calling him the most composed rookie Cleveland's seen in years. And somewhere, far from the cameras, Deion Sanders just smiled, proud, not because of fame, but because his son had done it the right way. For Cleveland, the message was clear. A new era was beginning, the Shedeur Sanders era.